Hello Simmers, this is your captain speaking, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate a program that I've written and have made available at flightsim.to. And before we look at the program, let's look at flightsim.to to see how to download the application. The application is called Aircraft Checklist Database Builder, and it goes by the abbreviation ACDB. If you'll search for that, you'll come up with this result, Aircraft Checklist Database Builder. Click on that, and it will go to the page where my application is available. If you click on the window here, you can see some of the see what the windows look like within the application. This is one of the editors of the application. Another one of the editors, this is the main window. And this is a view window for a checklist. And then finally, this is a File Explorer window for scripts that the checklist builder create when all is said and done. This is an application that is designed to work with Axis and Ohs by Lorby to build checklists for aircraft that can be used within the simulator using text-to-speech. And Axis and Ohs has a really neat feature that allows these checklists to read off the checklist items and wait for your confirmation before going on. And it's a nice way to run through your checklist. And ACDB is an application that helps to do that. If you want to download it, you can go to flightsim.to and search for ACDB and come to this page and scroll down to the bottom and click download, and that will download the application in your browser. It's pretty simple to install. Just open up the zip file that you get in the download and copy the ACDB folder anywhere in your on your computer, and you'll end up with a directory like this, where I have a special directory on my D drive called Trusted Programs, and ACDB is the folder for the application. And there's all the files that are contained within the zip file folder. And ACDB exe is the application. You can double click that, and that will bring the application up, just like I did right then. Before we look, let's take a look at Axis and Ohs. I want to show you. Well, let's come back to Axis and Ohs later on. I think maybe a little bit better to do that. Let's go ahead and look at ACDB before we go there, and then once we've demonstrated this part of the application, then we can demonstrate the text-to-speech features of Axis and Ohs. But this is what the main window looks like when it first opens up. It has a number of fields here that need to be filled out for the application. The ICAO is for basically a short name for the aircraft that you are configuring the checklist for. And it doesn't really have to be ICAO, but it does need to be characters that are that can be used within a directory name. For all intents and purposes, you should use only alphabetic and numeric characters. In this field, I would stay away from spaces and any other special characters in the field, but just type in any character. Let's just say X11 for uh, demonstration purposes. This folder here is where Lorby Axis and Ohs expects to find the scripts, so it is presented by default. And you can change this to something else if you don't want to save directly into the script folder, but I have it set at the default right now. And the voice has to be one of the Microsoft voices that are installed on your computer. These voices are, the name has to be exactly right, and there's no double checking within ACDB to ensure that it's right, but it does have to be right for it to work within Axis and Ohs. You can get the names in several different ways. There's a PowerScript, there's some PowerScript commands that you can use to get the names. That is explained in the wiki in the support site for the application. Let me just show that to you. Go back here. The wiki is at on GitHub, and let's just go for operating ACDB. And what I want to look for here is the control data editor, and see what it has to say about the desktop. Here's the PowerScript prompt. If you go to the PowerScript prompt on your desktop and execute these 3 lines, then you'll get a list of names like this, and any of these names can go in that text field that I just showed you. And so then the voice rate is the speed at which you want the speaker to speak. By default it's set to 0. The voice volume, by default it's set to 75. And then below here is a list box where you can add items to the list that represent the checklists that you have that you want to use for your aircraft. You can click a plus here, and that will create a checklist for you. And let's just call this pre-flight, and we'll say this is a pre-flight checklist. And let's say we want to create another another checklist box above this. We can click this button here, and let's say before start. And this name needs to be a name that can be used in a file name. And again, I recommend alphabetic characters here. You can use numeric characters in here as well if you wish, but stay away from symbols. The title is going to be used by text-to-speech, so you want to type the name out as you want it to be heard. And most of the time you can just type it out correctly. Type it out in the normal way. Before start checklist. And now I see that before start should come after pre-flight, so we can click on that, click the down arrow, and that will move it out. So the down arrow and up arrows work on the selected item here. I'm not going to go through all of this to create the full checklist. So let's just go into the file menu and click open. Get a little warning box here. For some reason my headset turned off. I'm going to have to check on that. But we'll get a little warning here that data loss is possible, and we'll click continue. We'll just unselect that so it doesn't come up again. We'll click continue. And now we come to the Open Checklist Data File menu, and we go to a file, and we're looking for a CLBT file. Click open, and that loads up a previously saved checklist, and this is a checklist for the K100, and by default it will save to the Axis and Ohs scripts folder, and it has 13 checklists within it, and in each one of the checklists there's an open button, and where you can go in and you can fill out what that checklist will look at for this particular phase of the flight. And we'll close that now. And once you get all the data entered like this, you can go into the file menu and click build. And once again, you'll get that safety warning pop up if you have not disabled it. Otherwise, it's going to go ahead and save it to the K100 directory. Let me just go over to my browser, and we'll go over to Documents, look for the Lorby Axis and Ohs files and scripts, and there is the K100 directory that it just created. If we click on that, we'll see a list of scripts that have been created for Axis and Ohs. Control text file is a file that controls the flow of the checklist, and then each one of the checklists here will be presented in order to the user once we get into Axis and Ohs and get it all set up. So let's go ahead and close this and take a look at the Axis and Ohs application. I don't have Microsoft Flight Simulator running for right now, so it's waiting for a connection to SimConnect. It's never going to find one. So what we're going to do is click on offline mode. And now I'm prompted to select a configuration. We'll click on that. And now let's select the Kodak 100 Tundra tires and click load. I've already set this up actually, but we're going to go through and show what needs to be done. I have one of the assigned buttons, a button that is assigned to my flight yoke system, button number 1. When I press that, you can see it flashing on and off. And when I hold it, it starts listening for commands. And I have various commands set up. One of the commands is the start checklist command. And this start checklist command is sets the device as voice, and the assigned button or keys is start checklist, and that just simply means listens for the sound of start checklist. And if you hear that, then run checklist K100 RPN. And if I go in here and look down here, that is the checklist. That's the command that's going to run, the checklist K100 RPN. Where did that come from? Well, I had to create it. So let's go and see how that was created. You create that within the scripting dialog box, RPN scripts editor. And in the scripts editor, you can go in and select the script group where you want to create a script, and you type in the script title. I have it, the script title is K100, and you have to type in the text that you want, the RPN text that you want to run within this script. This one is a fairly simple script. It simply runs the K100 / K100 underscore checklist control dot text. You'll recognize this is the file name in the directory for the control dot text file that was created by ACDB. And so that's where that was created. And now, when I hold down my voice command, push the talk button, and say start checklist, we'll start on the checklist. Start checklists. Well, it didn't hear me. Start checklist.
Pre-flight inspection. Control locks off.
Check.
Checked. Parking brake set.
Check.
Checked. All electrical equipment off.
Check.
Checked. All circuit breakers pushed.
Check.
Checked. Fire extinguishers.
Now if I wait for a while and don't issue the expected check, it will repeat
Please
the
confirm. Fire extinguishers.
instruction. And so it's waiting for me to check
Please
this
confirm.
off.
Fire extinguishers.
As long as I don't check it, after a while it will give up. So let's wait for that.
Please confirm. Fire extinguishers. Please confirm. Fire extinguishers.
It sounds like it waits, gives you about 5 opportunities to check it off.
Checklist end.
And so that is the end of that. It ends that checklist. Now, both of these commands, start checklist, which is a voice device, and the button is start checklist, and next checklist, also a voice device, next checklist. Both of these commands will simply run that K100 script that we created within the script editor that we showed how we created in the script editor a moment ago. So if I go here and I say next checklist,
Before starting engine.
it'll go to the next
Wait
checklist in order. So it's now looking at the before start list, waiting for wait and balance. Check.
Checked. Passenger briefing complete.
And we haven't given the passenger briefing. We could go in here and add some more
Please
voice
confirm.
commands to
Passenger briefing complete.
give us a little bit more control. I think one other command is available there for to stop the.
Please confirm. Passenger briefing complete.
There's another command there that can stop the checklist
Please
early.
confirm.
We haven't
briefing
programmed
complete.
that particular button.
Please confirm. Passenger briefing complete.
And we'll go ahead and leave Axis and Ohs now, since that's I think that's a pretty good demonstration of the application. Just a reminder, for support for ACDB, you should come to GitHub. Within GitHub, you can search for. Let's see if we can search for it with the abbreviation ACDB, and you'll get this, and you'll get these results, and there is the main page for the Aircraft Checklist Database Builder. And over here, the wiki. In the wiki, you'll find instructions for installing the application, for using the program. And if you wish, you can also download the application from this page, although I see that I need to create a release for the most recent download. But that will be available by the time you view this video. Appreciate you watching this. Hope that it helps with your flight simming, and let us know how it works for you. See you next time.